Hello and welcome to Health and Beauty Hacks. I'm your host, Mia Sines. I'm really excited to bring to you one of my favorite new people. She's been a huge person in my journey moving forward, and her name is Simone Kvalheim. And I want to read a little bit of her bio to you. I normally don't do this, but because I do value this woman, as you'll find out, she was been a huge instigator in my healing. And so let me share a little bit more with Simone before she shares the rest with you. Simone Kvalheim is the founder and CEO of X-Cellerated Health and an age reversal expert, coach, speaker, publisher, and author of Your DNA is Not Your Destiny, which was released this year, and Phototherapy 2020 release. Is that coming, the 2020 release? Sorry, Simone, I was asking you.
Yes.
So it's still coming. Okay, cool. All right. And she's a champion to fight for personal health, self-care, and longevity. Now, I have to tell you that this woman gets in and it's almost like she's this magic magician. When she talks to you, she just knows everything that you need for your body. And so I'd really like to bring her on. Simone, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm so delighted and honored to be a guest on your show. You know, I've been following you for several years and seeing what you've been doing out there. And so when you contacted me, I was blown away that you contacted me.
Oh, beautiful.
So thank you for having me.
I didn't know that. I love that.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Thank you. What brought you into the work that you do? To me, you're like a doctor, a scientist, a love bug, everything wrapped in one, the healer.
Well, I will tell you, I'm not a doctor. I did first year medicine. I was born in Zimbabwe. Right? For those of you that don't know, that's just north of South Africa. And I did first year medicine. And in order to go to second year, I had to do an autopsy. And I failed miserably. Thank God for me, we had to do that in the first year. Because can you imagine getting to fifth year and then failing medicine? So then I did something totally different. I became a dress designer, an evening wear designer. It took me around the world. I ended up in Australia after living in South Africa, Hong Kong, parts of Europe and parts of Asia, and then lived in Australia where I met Tony Robbins. And that turned my whole life upside down because I realized that I really needed to get back to the health piece. And so all these years I've been concerned about my health. My husband wooed me across the ocean. He said I'd been spending too much time standing on my head in the Southern Hemisphere. So I came out here in 2000. And again, my life, I reinvented myself in the area of looking after my health and having businesses just like you, Mia. Lots of women are like me. And the sense that we fly the jet airplane of life. We have everybody on board, our business is on board. Everybody has oxygen except us. Yeah. And we go, you know what? I don't need oxygen. I'm Superwoman, right? And we can only be Superwoman for so long before the body says, you know what? Enough is enough. You need to take care of you. And so all these years I've been concerned about health, my own health, taking care of people. And it was only in 2018 when I hit the wall. I had a raging headache, took 2 leave, and within 45 minutes, I looked like I was a candidate for botched, you know, that plastic surgery gone wrong show.
Yes.
My husband rushed me to the ER. They didn't even want to know my name. They put me in, had me connected to IVs within a matter of minutes because they were scared of anaphylaxis. It was at that point when my husband said, what would happen if you died, Simone? I don't know if I could live. And I thought, oh my goodness. And it made me stop. It sucked the oxygen out of my lungs. I thought, you know what? There has been something wrong with me for a while because I had stopped driving because I didn't feel that I could. My head hurt, just like so many women out there. And because of that, I decided to take charge of my own health. And that's what put me on this new trajectory of my life, which was to find out what was good for me and what's good for a lot of other women out there. So that's a long answer to that very short question. I'm sorry.
It's incredible. I never asked you because, you know, as I said, I was in awe. That's amazing.
Well, you know, I believe out of madness or out of a mess comes a message.
Yes.
I think out of the madness of my own health, and then a few months later, my dad being diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia, uh, a, a topic that none of us wants to talk about. It was a subject that we didn't want to breach, and we just didn't want to accept that he had it. And so it was on my path to find out something for my own health and to reverse his Alzheimer's that I came up with having my own coaching business, because I realized that I can do this. I can do it for my dad, I can do it for myself, and I have the pleasure of doing it for people like you.
Yes. Oh, amazing. Amazing. Well, I do want to talk a little bit about one of the processes that has totally changed my life called Lifewave patches. And we are going to talk about some other things, some other questions, but do you want to talk a little bit about that, or do you just want to hop into the...
Absolutely. You know, I'm happy to share Lifewave. Lifewave is a company, it's 15 years old, and it is a company that is a wellness technology company. And the inventor and the scientist behind Lifewave's invention, which is just this, the size of a quarter, the technology behind that is nothing short of miraculous. You know, it's cutting edge technology. It's nanocrystals, bioengineered, configured on a patch that when it's put in contact with the skin, the light that we emit, because we are light beings, we are quantum beings, when we give out light, our light, which is low spectrum, hits the patch, and the patch then sends a very targeted frequency into the body, and that stimulates the body's ability to heal itself. And, you know, you and I have talked at length that we don't believe, and certainly I can speak for myself, God doesn't make junk. Sometimes our body might feel like junk because of the environment and what we're doing to it. But the body has this, which is this amazing architecture, has the ability to heal itself. Given the right signals, the right food, the right thoughts, the right environment externally and internally, the body can heal itself. So, you know, this whole thing about quantum healing. So this is taking ancient wisdom, which is based on acupressure and acupuncture, validating it with current 21st century science called photobiomodulation that brings us technology that you and I can use. And we're seeing miraculous things happen, not only with you, but so many of my clients.
Yes, I found very quickly that the patches, I could feel a result within the first week myself. And they've been brilliant for me, and they're really beautiful. So is this part of the phototherapy that is in the patch, that when it hits the, when you open up your patch to put on, it looks like a Band-Aid, it's the size of a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I can't show you mine because they're in private parts. You know,
well, I wore mine here so everyone
good.
could
Okay,
see.
good, yes, good. I said when I'm not working with doing videos, I wear one here or down below my belly button. So that's where one of my main ones are. There's one on my back, one on my foot. So I'm all patched up. It's really powerful, that the way in which these work. And would you like to, for me, please, to go through some of the patches that there are? Because like, I didn't know I needed glutathione. And you're like, you need glutathione. And then when we found out, when I discovered it on my own awareness of what it was, I was like, boy, I need glutathione. And that was one of the things among the other patches that I wear that really perked me up.
Absolutely. You know, glutathione is made by the body. It's made in the liver. It's the master antioxidant. And in fact, without glutathione, we perish. Without glutathione in stem cells, we're gone. And that's all part of the aging process. Glutathione is essential for our immune system. And, you know, we were just talking about 2 minutes ago before we came on about how we only have to dress from here down because of COVID and because of, you know, Zoom. It's the same with our immune system. We need to protect our bodies because people who are struggling with lack of glutathione are very susceptible to the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about curing COVID. You know, we've had flu forever in a day. Our immune systems are being compromised on so many levels. You know, if you look at what people are putting in their mouth, what's outside of us, what we're drinking, are we drinking water that has fluoride? Mm-hmm. Do we use toothpaste that has fluoride? A lot of people don't know that fluoride is a byproduct of magnesium extraction. Was sold to communities and to municipalities to keep pipes clear of rust. Can you imagine what it's doing to our body? We only find out when it's too late, when it's hit the brain and, you know, we perish. So glutathione is essential. That's the first one. Another patch that is critical is AEON, A-E-O-N. That is for inflammation. And, you know, just by virtue of where we live, how we're living right now in the United States, everybody's experiencing some form of inflammation at some level or another. And that leads to not being able to sleep. And, you know, one of the key things for me was that, as I said, I'd flown this jet airplane of life. I realized that I was like so many other women. Maria Shriver, a couple of months ago, said that women are at the epicenter of Alzheimer's, and we need to find a way to be at the heart of the solution. And so many women like myself did not have glutathione, did not sleep, were stressed. Because they were stressed, they didn't sleep. So then they started to self-medicate with things that ended in PM. And after a while, that didn't work. And then they go to their doctor, and the doctor says, oh, no problem, you're depressed, and starts putting you on medication. And they might start off with Zoloft or Prozac. And after a while, that doesn't work. So they say, well, now we're going to put something else on top of that. And that's where women are now literally at the epicenter of Alzheimer's, because we are losing our mind. And I'm over 55, so I was concerned. You know, I'm 62, and a big thing for me was that I wanted to make sure that I did live a long, healthy life, knowing who I am, where I am, and who loves me. So AEON is important for inflammation, glutathione, the master antioxidant, and then our patch of all patches is our stem cell activator. And I know you love that. We all love that. You know, just on the beauty side of it, because this is beauty hacks, it does phenomenal things for our skin, incredible things for our hair, our nails, and more importantly, it does some amazing internal repair of organs. And you know what I was saying to you before we came on about quantum healing, the fact is we're not the same people we were when we were 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. You know, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, because our body is wired to regenerate and repair. And so our stem cells can do that. But we want to have younger stem cells do that. And that's what our patch does. So if anyone,
I love the stem cell ones. I sometimes wear it when I'm not on camera right here.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
feel it helps in my eyes and my skin and my face, and it's beautiful. I love that.
And it stimulates the pineal gland, which is very important for sleep and clarity and focus.
Yes, that's what I felt that too. There are some patches that I think that I personally would like to know about too, like the pain wave. Or the ice wave. It helps relieve pain. We all have pain. I used to use Tiger Balm or even some icy hot patches, and this ice wave patch must be like that on steroids, meaning that it's like that times 100%.
Absolutely. You know, just a little side story to that is that a lot of people are taking acetaminophen and ibuprofen for pain, not realizing that it destroys the body's ability to produce glutathione, right? So again, with that in mind, our ice wave, we know we can reduce pain at the speed of light, because it's using our body's own intelligence, our own light, to unblock energy, because that's what pain is essentially, blocked energy. And so when we take acetaminophen or ibuprofen, that's just covering it up. The body is still in pain. Our patch reduces the pain. And, you know, we've got results of people being out of pain within 10 minutes. People who have migraines use our ice wave and don't have migraines afterwards. I've had a guy that had a nervous tic, right? His eye used to tick. I put ice wave on him. 3 days later, it was gone. Never had it again. So that is phenomenal. And then the energy patch, you know, you talked about having the patch on your foot, on the underside of your foot. Again, the energy patch, we know we can stimulate our energy at the speed of light. And again, as we grow older, have more and more birthdays, our body's ability to create energy becomes harder and harder. So it's kind of like, you know, that show where they renovate homes. They do this great exterior and interior, but then they still have the old water furnace.
Yes.
That's what the mitochondria are like in our cells. They're those old little furnaces. And so using our energy patches and our X-39, we're able to recreate and regenerate those little mitochondria. So we have more energy. And again, as we have more and more birthdays, our form of exercise has to change. Because, you know, this whole thing about aging is not linear. It's cyclical. We're quantum beings. We're wired to live, to regenerate. And you're already seeing that, you know, compared to where you were 6 months ago, 9 months ago. You've totally reinvented your whole body.
2 months ago, yes.
Yeah, 2 months ago, yes. You know, as I've always said, it all depends on the signals, the information. People don't necessarily realize when we eat nutrients or eat food, that's to send signals. It's not spinach going to the mitochondria. The mitochondria doesn't get the spinach, right? It gets a signal that's created by the body as a result of having taken in spinach.
I love that.
You can tell I'm excited, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to be with you.
And me too. And I was thinking, no, it's been 3 months since I've been working with Simone. So not 2, 3. Time is so interesting when you're working on your body, because sometimes you feel like it freezes, and then, you know, meaning that it's just, it lingers and lingers and lingers. And then sometimes it moves forward really fast. So I lose track of time in this healing, but it's all good.
I haven't lost track because I've been telling people about you. So not are you world famous now for what you do, world famous for your whole restructuring of you, this new Mia.
When my book comes out on this healing, it's going to be amazing. I mean, literally, it's another opener for people to realize that we can heal our body, especially to frightening things that we're told that we can't. Yeah.
You know, and what's exciting, and it's going to come out at a perfect time when so many people are now looking for not alternative medicine. They're looking for alternatives in a lifestyle. Because even doctors, I'm speaking to doctors regularly who signed up maybe 30 years ago to become a doctor thinking they were going to help people heal, and realize today that every single day they violate that Hippocratic oath that they took, which was to cause no harm. Every time they write a prescription, they might be doing good for some part of the body, but what harm is it doing elsewhere? And so, you know, this is exciting, what you're doing and what I do, and being able to offer people the opportunity to take responsibility for self-care, self-wellness. I tend to think that word healthcare means medication and doctors. We're about self-wellness.
That's right. It's beautiful. I want us to talk a little bit about something that you shared with me. We don't have to give the amounts. People can write us, or they can talk to us during one of our sessions that we offer as a free gift. But I'd like to talk, I've named it the Trojan horse instead of the other name, but we'll call it the other name.
Absolutely. I believe so.
So let's talk about Poorman's chemo, which has been the patches. This is why, everyone, I wanted Simone to come on the first day here, because it's been such a remarkable journey with her support, with the patches, with the Poorman's chemo. And then I got into the other stuff that I do too. But this, I felt the tumor shrinking. My tumors were on the surface, and they're no longer there. My breast is transformed back into a gorgeous breast that it was. So let's talk a little bit about Poorman's chemo.
Absolutely. You know, as I mentioned to you when we first started out, well, can I just tell everyone a little bit about you?
Oh, sure.
I get this call from a lovely lady called Mia. And she says, before anything, Simone, I want to tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to have a double mastectomy. I'm going to have chemo. I'm going to have radiation. Please do not try to talk me out of it. I thought, okay, that's not my job. Great, let's move on. And I asked, how much time do you have before your operation? You gave me a time. And I said, well, this is the first thing that I would do. And that is, let's prepare your body for whatever you do. So for some women out there that might want to still do the allopathic route, know that you can prepare your body ahead of time. And the Poorman's chemo is just that. It's made up of sodium bicarbonate and maple sugar. And for those science people out there, it's basically when you boil it up, the sodium bicarbonate is covered by the sugar, you ingest it, and those cancer cells, which are greedy suckers, they go, oh, sugar, and they consume vast amounts of it, not realizing that as they metabolize it, it releases the sodium bicarbonate, and that neutralizes the cells. Simple as that. There are some recipes out there where you can just drink it in water, and that's good for the likes of me who just wants to alkalize. But if you're looking at an issue, be it kidneys, be it liver, be it what Mia's going through, tumors, you might want to take it with a sugar because it gets more readily absorbed into the cells. But I love the whole concept of that Trojan horse.
I do too.
It goes everywhere that you need it.
I do too. And one of the things that I did was change the way I eat. I started reading a book called How to Starve Cancer Without Starving Yourself. And it made sense with what Simone was sharing with me. And as I changed my food source, for me, I'm very severe with it, strict, because I'm starving the cancer. And normally I'm killing that thing, but I'm starving the cancer. And the Poorman chemo is very much, it is a Trojan horse. And so it's very much, when you're starving yourself, what is cancer looking for? It's looking for sugar. That's why you have to stay away from sugary vegetables. Like, you look them up yourself if you're interested. And a lot of cancer patients go on what they call a fruitarian diet, or they become a fruitarian. And that is really bad for you because it's all sugar and it speeds up. I had a girlfriend pass of that recently. She had cancer and she became a fruitarian. Steve Jobs passed as a fruitarian with his cancer. So it shows us that it is activating in the wrong way. So when you strip your body of the excess sugars, if you're going to take that path, and even with the poor man's chemo, it really supports it. I also do intermittent fasting as well. Today I'm on a fasting day. And so I'm like, wow, this is exciting because the body is really going after the poor man's chemo when I fast.
There is another book that I highly recommend. It's called Eat to Beat Disease by Dr. William Lee. Again, he doesn't advocate that you become paleo, become vegetarian. He talks about eating nutrient-dense food that is free of sugar. And so, with the intermittent fasting, you're losing weight, you're not losing weight, shedding weight or releasing weight. Because, us as humans, when we lose something, we have the ability to find it. Right?
I don't want to
release weight. We release weight.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a very fast journey, a very fast process, and it's been amazing. We're almost out of time here, and so I want to talk to you about your DNA is not your destiny, because we want to leave people with the understanding that they can change their experience, like you've said so many times.
Absolutely. There is a new science. When I say new, it's, maybe 10, 12 years now. It's called epigenetics, which means above the genes. When in 2000, I think it was President Clinton released that they had decoded the human genome, they expected to find 125,000 genes. And that was going to be fantastic for Big Pharma, because now they're going to find 125,000 new medicines, right? Well, when they came to finally do it, they found out that we have about 25,000. And so we have genes that can do certain things when they're allowed to express themselves. And so epigenetics is the science behind how our genes are expressed. And so certain nutrients we take might spike certain genes. For instance, when we eat sugar, that does terrible things for our genetic code and makes us want to eat more sugar. Have you ever noticed that once you've had one cookie, you want two, and the fifth cookie tastes the best? But of course, think about how much sugar you've had, right? Think about your calorie. If you think about calories, you want to commit harikiri at that stage. So your DNA is not your destiny. It's really giving you the ability to understand that you can take control of self-care, self-health. Your DNA and how it expresses yourself is your choice. It's also when my mother died from cardiovascular disease. So I have always thought, well, now I have the predisposition for that. I don't own it. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I don't own it. I now do not have any symptoms because I've done things to switch off those genes.
Mhm.
It's the same with people that think because somebody in their family has Alzheimer's and dementia, that they might have it. Well, even if you do have the genetic marker, it doesn't mean that you will die from Alzheimer's and dementia. So that is what my book is about the fact that your DNA, because of science, you can make choices, radical choices like you've made by taking the poor man's chemo, intermittent fasting, watching what you eat, and going further than that, looking at the other self-care pieces, which is what you listen to, the baths that you have, the music that you listen to, it's the external environment of our body as well as internally. So your DNA is really now, how it expresses itself is all up to you. The ultimate power as quantum beings, Einstein said we're made up of pockets of light and energy. So we really need to take that on board and understand that we can raise our frequency, which is what you teach too, that if we raise our frequency and the rate at which we vibrate leads to a longer and healthier, more dynamic life. Because I don't know about you, but I think 60 is the new 40. You're not anywhere near there. So, this is all about taking responsibility for our own self-care.
I am near there. In 3 years.
Well, let me tell you, it's wonderful when you get to 60, because now you know what your body looks like. You've taken control. You don't have to worry about all those other things we worried about when we were 20.
Mm-hmm. I love being in my 50s. I loved being in my 40s. Most women don't even wake up to the fact that they have a choice until they're about in their 40s. And that's because we're busy with all the human stuff, starting a family, having children, working, being embedded with chaos. Can you imagine, and I know you can, if women started this process of self-care and self-awareness and growing who they are in their 20s, wow, they would be like nothing we've ever seen. And
Mia, that goes back to something that's very dear to my heart, and that is when we're taught, when we're young girls, young women, just taught about our menstrual cycle. It was always called a curse, when in fact we didn't realize at the time that it's such a blessing for us because we get the opportunity to detox, and detox is essential.
Yeah.
And then we have menopause, and then people say, menopause, why do we have men involved with what is supposed to be a fantastic change in our life, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. We need to embrace those things. Menopause is awesome. Yeah. If we know what to do with our body, if we know what to feed it, what signals to give it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It's about working with your body, being aware that you are in charge. We as an individual are in charge of our own experience. 3 years ago, May 2017, I was diagnosed with microvascular disease, or end of April, beginning of May. And that means that there was a lack of oxygen and blood flow going to my heart. And I could literally feel like this black dense thing. And when I got in and got care, when I found out what it was and that it was caused for most women, even starting in their 20s, with microvascular disease in the heart, is it comes from the toxins in our stuff, the parabens that are put in our shampoos, our bodies, so everything. So when we strip away all the unnecessary toxins or the chemicals that they put in our product, and we go for more natural ones, our body has the opportunity to heal itself. And within 2 years, they couldn't even detect that I had microvascular disease anymore.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And I'm excited. You know how I said I've been following you for a while. I've always been excited about this whole thing of being a heart-centered professional, right?
Beautiful.
Because there is scientific evidence to support that we have brain and heart harmony, that we have brain cells in our heart and in our gut. You know, when people say I have a gut feeling, right. You do. And so you having that evolving from cardiovascular issues to now being able to share your life with women to make such a difference for them is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful for everyone that has always stepped forward, because I've had many exit points in my life. I know that the work is very valuable and important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be pulled pulled out of here all the time, you know? And so it's really beautiful to yeah, to be able to self-heal and to have this awareness that I'm finally in control of who I am. You know, doesn't every human want that? We say we do.
Yes.
Do we really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the biggest freedom, when you can really watch yourself change and shift and remove any disease in our bodies. It's beautiful. You have a free gift for us. Would you like to share it?
Yes. What my gift is simply this. I would love to do for a lot of women what I did for you in the very beginning.
And men.
And men, of course, men and women.
Watch this.
But you know, just talking about that, it's very interesting. I had a situation where a woman told me about her husband and having prostate cancer. Would you believe within a week, I had 5 men call me. Mm-hmm. And I put them on the poor man's chemo just like you, and they're interested in what's happening to you. So yes, for men and women, I'd love to offer a free, no obligation consultation with me, where I will do what I do with Mia. It's a 45-minute consultation. I do a deep dive and give you suggestions on how you can take responsibility. And from there, you know, who knows what we can do. But that's what I'd love to do. And then I've got, when you do the consultation with me, then I've got some other free gifts that I like to offer my clients.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love this because everyone out there who's watching, we're so glad that you're here. But I also am having Simone on this first day with me. I'm going to be interviewed as well, or you already have watched it. I'm not sure how it's working out yet, but I'm glad that you're here. And I really would like you to take this opportunity with her, because she has changed my life. She was the, besides my husband, who made me listen to her. She has been the most instrumental human with information that I've ever met, but also for this journey, which has been phenomenal. So that, again, publicly, I'd like to say thank you so much, Simone. I love you. You saved my life, literally. Whew. Okay.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us, Simone, on this show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching Health and Beauty Hacks, and keep watching the rest of the 2 weeks. And also, Simone will be on the 9th in the classroom, in the group, the Self-Love Revolution. Join that. I'm having 4 or 5 coaches go live to be able to support you. And each one has their own time slot. Simone will be the first step. And so do watch us there. And thank you again for joining us. And we'll see you in another episode.